Joining us right now, Wisconsin Republican Congressman Sean Duffy. Congressman, good to see you.
Hey, good morning, Maria. Thanks for having me on.
What do you think is most important for the people of Wisconsin? Do you believe that 6% are still undecided at this point, 5 days to go?
No, I don't. So in Wisconsin, you look at the Marquette poll, that is the gold standard of polling in our state. But if you look at this poll, what happened, a couple days of polling took place before the Friday bombshell that came from the FBI last week, number one. But number two, they oversampled Democrats by 6 percentage points. So I do think Hillary's winning in Wisconsin, but not by 6 points. Maybe it's a 2 or 3 vote or percentage margin for her. But I think this state's going to be it's going to be tight. But I think what's really important in our state, as you look to the Senate, Ron Johnson is within 1 point of Russ Feingold. So many people across the country, out in Washington, D.C., they wrote off our Senate race. This is going to be a horse race, and especially if you look at how that poll was done, I think Ron Johnson is actually up a little bit. And what we're seeing in Wisconsin is this great tradition of ticket splitting. You'll see some who will vote for Hillary Clinton, but also they want to check and balance, and so they'll go vote for Ron Johnson as well. So we're not out of it here in Wisconsin, but again, Clinton has a lead. I'm surprised, Maria, as we've heard all morning talking about polling, how close Colorado is, though, and Michigan and Pennsylvania. If I was on the Trump team looking at polls, I might go, hey, these are some really great plays in this last 5 days before the election. You got to pick off one of these blue states. If you're going to get to 270. Wisconsin might be one of those states, but you got great opportunity in some traditionally blue states as well.
Yeah. Sean, Congressman, it's Dagan McDowell. In terms of the polls tightening in the Johnson-Russ Feingold race, the Wall Street Journal actually wrote an entire article about that very thing. And do you think that Obamacare and the premium increases and the diminishing lack of choice in that is hurting Russ Feingold, because he was the final vote in the Senate that signed off on Obamacare? And is he getting hammered on that in Wisconsin?
He's getting slaughtered. Listen, in Wisconsin, you're seeing 20 to 30% increases from last year to this year, just like you are across the country. Different parts of the state have different increases. But Russ Feingold was aggressive in his support for Obamacare, but he made the ultimate sin. He made the same promises on Obamacare that Barack Obama did. He said, if you like your health care plan, you can keep it. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. And if you have a family of 4 on average, the cost of your insurance will go down by $2,500 a year. We all have seen that to be false. And in Wisconsin, we like people who are trustworthy. Whether we like the news or not, you got to level with us. People look at Russ Feingold lying to him. Ron Johnson is running great ads holding Russ to account for the vote in support of Obamacare. So this is playing hard here.
Hey, Congressman, as you're starting to see some of the down-ballot races kind of lean Republican, is there any way that you could see that over the next 5 days coming up to help Donald Trump? So people saying, you know, I like this Republican senator, so therefore I'm going to vote Republican in the main race also?
It can, but I think you see a difference in the minds of the voter. They see Donald Trump as one entity. He's kind of a unique or different Republican, and then they see their traditional Republican candidate as something else. So I'm not sure that you know, Donald Trump's going to help lift up Republicans in certain areas, or down ballot Republicans are going to lift up Donald Trump. You see a lot of folks running their own races, and successfully so. And that's why I think a lot of our senators are doing so well in states that that Trump might not be doing so well in. We have some House members where Mr. Trump is down by, you know, 15, 18 points in their districts, but they're actually winning by a couple points because there is this distinction, and people are looking at the person as opposed to the party.
Well, what about Wisconsin being one of the states allowing voters to change their ballots? If voting at the polls or absentee, they are allowed to cancel their ballot if they think they made the wrong choice. I know Trump has been on the campaign trail saying, look, now we got this new information from the FBI last Friday. If you want to change your vote, what's your take on that? Is it going to move anybody to change their vote?
Maria, this is the first I had heard about our ability to change our votes in Wisconsin. You can do it up to 3 times. But when Mr. Trump was here a couple days ago, he made sure that everyone in Wisconsin knew that if you made a mistake and voted for Hillary Clinton, you don't want someone who is crooked or corrupt or could be indicted by the FBI, you still have time to change your vote. I think it's been an interesting news cycle and campaign in that all this new information comes out, not just about Mr. Trump, but about Mrs. Clinton. And this is probably one of the first election cycles that someone wouldn't be locked in, and as new information comes in, we have politicians saying, you can still change your vote, go on in and you can switch from Hillary over to me, Donald. I don't know that we're going to have a lot of people do that, though. I think those who voted early were pretty well locked in on who they wanted to support. We'll see.
What about the voter fraud story? Wisconsin reportedly deploying election integrity teams at the polls to make sure that there is no misconduct or wrongful denial of the right to vote. What's going on in Wisconsin in terms of watching these machines and making sure that there isn't voter fraud?
Yeah, Maria, I don't want your viewers to think that because Donald Trump has said that this could be a rigged election, our Department of Justice, our Attorney General is deploying, this new team to watch our elections in Wisconsin. We've done this since 2004. And our Attorney General gets his team together. He deploys them around the state. And again, we want to make sure that our vote totals are accurate. They reflect the number of people and the votes that are cast in our state. And so you hear other places, you look at Chicago where you have a lot more dead people voting. In Wisconsin, we want to make sure that this is accurate and true. And so since 2004, our Department of Justice goes out and makes sure that the voting system is running correctly. So not a really big story. I'm happy we do that here. And I think more states should take this very seriously and make sure they have public officials, whether they're attorneys or high-level law enforcement officers, on the ground just watching to make sure there's no funny business, there's no shenanigans as Americans go to the ballot box and pick the next president.
I think there's just a consensus that it doesn't really matter with all of this email stuff, which I kind of agree with because people have made up their mind. They already know she's so shady, but I really can't believe people don't care. It really makes me sad.
Listen, I think they do care. I think the drip, drip, drip of not just WikiLeaks, but the new information that there may be an indictment with the Clinton Foundation that's come from the FBI.
Right.
I don't think Americans want to move forward. They want to focus on the economy and their jobs. They want to focus on ISIS. We don't want to have another, 4 years of Clinton scandals where there's lawsuits and indictments and past bad acts that come into play. We want to clear the slate, look forward, and start to focus on policy that's going to grow the economy. I don't want to deal with the corruption of past bad acts from the Clinton Foundation. And if she wins, make no mistake, that is going to drive the conversation in America as opposed to the families in America who have been suffering under 8 years of the Obama economy.
And I ask this as a question, but are people increasingly going to have to look at that ticket when normally the vice presidential pick does not matter, and look at Clinton-Kaine and say, well, I could be stuck with Kaine at some point in the next 4 years?
I'd prefer that to
That's
Hillary.
a question.
By the way, I just want to point out, Adam Shapiro reported this. Go ahead, Congressman.
I was going to say, after that last debate between the vice presidents, I'm not sure I want Kaine either. Both Clinton and Kaine, I think, are bad for the economy and growth.
Congressman, thank you very much. Just want to point out, in terms of the voter fraud story, Adam Shapiro did report yesterday that the Republican Party of Florida is accusing election officials of voter fraud in a key county, that's Broward County, which includes Fort Lauderdale. So we talk about this being, a story. Well, there is some evidence of it, and Adam Shapiro reported it yesterday.